This is DD India and you're watching Express News, a program where we bring you top 100 news of the day. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Let's begin. Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the site of the Air India plane crash in Gujarat's Ahmedabad to address the situation firsthand. Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel and Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu were also present at the site. The Prime Minister met with officials and emergency response teams working tirelessly in the aftermath of India's worst airline disaster. The Indian Prime Minister visited the Civil Aviation Hospital Civil Hospital in Ahmedabad and met the survivor of the plane crash and others injured in the incident. Prime Minister Modi also chaired a meeting with ministers and senior officials at the Ahmedabad airport to take stock of the situation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi condoled the passing of former Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani, who lost his life in the Ahmedabad air tragedy. PM Modi met the family members of Vijay Rupani and remembered him as a humble and hard-working leader. At least 241 people were killed after an Air India flight crashed near the Ahmedabad airport on Thursday. Air India said the sole survivor, a British national of Indian origin, is in hospital. The 787 Dreamliner, bound for London's Gatwick Airport, crashed just 5 minutes after takeoff on Thursday. The deceased include 169 Indians, 52 British nationals, 7 Portuguese and 1 Canadian passenger. The plane crashed onto a medical college hostel during lunch hour. The survivors continue to remain under supervision of the top authorities at the Civil Hospital, Ahmedabad. In light of the AI 171 accident, Directorate General of Civil Aviation has issued directives to Air India to carry out additional maintenance actions on B787-89 aircraft equipped with Gen X engines with immediate effect. The Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau on Friday confirmed that the black box was recovered from the rooftop of the air crash site. It said investigation began with full force immediately after the retrieval. The government is now undertaking DNA sampling process for the relatives, and the official number of deceased will be declared only after the completion of the DNA testing. Taking to social media site X, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said that he's in touch with UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy, Foreign Minister of Portugal Paulo Rangel and Foreign Minister of Canada Anita Anand regarding the Ahmedabad plane crash. Dr. Jaishankar expressed profound condolences and offered full support in this hour of grief to these nations. Air India Managing Director and CEO Campbell Wilson visited the crash site on Friday morning. The airline has set up Friends and Relatives Assistance Centres at Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Delhi and Gatwick airports. Boeing President and CEO Kelly Ortberg expressed condolences to the loved ones of the passengers and crew on board Air India Flight 171. He offered Boeing's full support to the investigation and recovery efforts. Condolences are pouring in from across the world after the tragic Ahmedabad plane crash incident. US President Donald Trump has offered to help India following the horrific accident. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer also expressed grief over the plane crash. He extended his condolences and described the crash as devastating. Other world leaders, including Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, President of the European Commission Ursula von der Leyen, European Union Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas, French President Emmanuel Macron, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, and others expressed sadness over the tragic plane crash. Delhi International Airport on Friday confirmed that overall airport operations are running smoothly. However, due to evolving airspace conditions over Iran, Iraq and neighbouring regions, some flight schedules have been impacted. Speaking at the Raisina Mediterranean 2025 Dialogue, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar emphasized the long-term significance of connectivity in shaping global geopolitics. On the sidelines of the Raisina Mediterranean 2025 ministerial session on France, India and Europe, a multidimensional strategic partnership, Jaishankar shared the stage with French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot and underlined the robust and evolving partnership between the two countries. On to business news now. Indian benchmark indices stumbled on Friday. At close, the Sensex declined 573 points to close at 81,190. The Nifty at the National Stock Exchange took a dip of 170 points to settle at 24,790. Gold prices crossed the 1 lakh rupee mark on Friday. The MCX gold index was at 1,165 rupees per 10 grams. Silver witnessed a decline of 100 rupees. MCX silver index was at 1,06,450 rupees per kilo. Oil prices in the international market jumped by more than 12% on Friday after Israel's attack on Iran's led to geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. Following the Air India plane crash on Thursday afternoon, Boeing company's share price cracked during overnight trade in US stock market, ending the session almost 5% lower. Japanese Finance Minister Katsunobu Kato has stated that Japan's $1 trillion plus holdings of US Treasury securities were not specifically discussed during his past meetings with US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Unilever workers in Ivory Coast have said that the global consumer goods giant is violating their collective bargaining agreement in refusing to ensure severance pay if layoffs take place after the company sells its business. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has said that the trade relations between China and the US could rebalance if Beijing is willing to increase market access for American products. Argentina's inflation rate has plummeted to single digits. Argentina's monthly inflation rate cooled to its lowest level in more than 5 years in May. In the early hours of Friday, Israel struck Iran, targeting its nuclear plant and military sites. The strikes killed Iranian commanders and missile factories, its ballistic missile program, and its Natanz uranium enrichment facility. Israel's attack killed Iran's powerful Revolutionary Guard chief Hossein Salami. Nuclear scientists Fariduin Abbasi Davani and Mohammad Mehdi Tehranche were also killed. Israel declared a state of emergency following its Operation Rising Lion. Defense Minister Israel Katz said that retaliatory action from Tehran was possible following the operation. Giving details of the strikes, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in a recorded video message that the operation would continue for days. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian stated on Friday that Iran would make Israel regret its recent deadly attack. Pezeshkian also affirmed that a powerful response of Iran will make the enemy regret its foolish act. Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei also warned that Israel would suffer severe consequences after launching deadly attacks. Khamenei said that Israel will receive harsh punishment following the attack. In its statement, Iran's foreign ministry said that the United States will be responsible for the consequences of Israel's adventurism. In a post on Truth Social, US President Donald Trump has urged Iran to make a deal, warning that there will be more death and destruction. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio highlighted that Washington was not involved, while also urging Tehran not to target US interests or personnel in the region. Iran, Jordan and Iraq announced the closure of their airspace. Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion airport will remain closed until further notice. Israel also closed its checkpoints in the occupied West Bank region. IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi said that Iran reported no elevated radiation levels after Israel's attack on Natanz nuclear facility and calling on all parties to use maximum restraint. Calling the attack a unilateral action by Israel, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte said on Friday that it is crucial for NATO allies, including the United States, to work to de-escalate the situation in the Middle East. India on Friday expressed deep concern over the escalating tensions between Iran and Israel and called for restraint from both sides. World leaders urged the nations to seek diplomacy and dialogue, while French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot reaffirmed Israel's right to defend itself against all attacks. India was among the 19 countries that abstained from voting on a resolution at United Nations General Assembly on Thursday, demanding a ceasefire in Gaza. Addressing the United Nations, India's permanent representative, Ambassador P. Harish, emphasized that diplomatic solutions are the only viable path to peace. A U.S. appeals court on Thursday temporarily allowed President Donald Trump to continue deploying National Guard troops in Los Angeles during the ongoing protests against intensified immigration enforcement. Protesters were dispersed and detained near a federal detention center in Los Angeles during the ongoing demonstrations over immigration raids. The northern Irish town of Portadown witnessed violent clashes as rioters hurled petrol bombs, rocks and fireworks at police during a fourth consecutive night of anti-immigrant unrest in the British-governed region on Thursday. Bangladesh's next general election may take place in the second week of February 2026, as agreed by the Chief Advisor of the Interim Government of Bangladesh, Mohammad Yunus, and Bangladesh Nationalist Party Acting Chairperson Tariq Rahman in a meeting in London on Friday. Nepal's parliament has not been able to meet for the past 2 weeks due to obstruction from opposition parties. The opposition parties have raised the issue of the visit visa scam and demanded an investigation committee along with the resignation of the Home Minister. We are heading for a short break here in Express News. We'll be back in just a bit. Stay tuned to DD India.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching Express News on DD India. Let's resume. As North India deals with rising temperatures and heat waves, the India Meteorological Department has forecast varying weather conditions for various regions. Widespread rainfall are expected in India's northeastern region to sub-Himalayan and southern regions starting from Friday till June 15th. Monsoon showers accompanied by gusty winds lashed Kerala's Thiruvananthapuram city, bringing relief from the heat, marking the seasonal shift. The IMD in Thiruvananthapuram has issued an orange alert for heavy rain in 10 Kerala districts. Rain lashed several parts of Shimla in Himachal Pradesh, bringing a dip in temperatures and the much-needed relief from the recent spell of heat. India Meteorological Department has said that another upper air cyclonic circulation is likely to form over North Bay of Bengal by June 15th. South Africa has been facing unusually cold weather recently, especially across parts of the interior, high veld and the southern regions. Central Vietnam is battling widespread flooding and heavy rainfall as storm Wu-Tip moves inland. Quang Binh province reported over 18,000 hectares of rice fields submerged and 24 isolated locations. Typhoon Wu-Tip brought strong winds and heavy rain to China's Hainan province on Friday. Wu-Tip is now heading towards southern Guangdong province. U.S. National Weather Service has predicted heavy thunderstorms, excessive rainfall, locally considerable flooding in the lower Mississippi River Valley on Friday and Saturday. The canonization of the first Catholic saint of the millennial generation, Carlo Acutis, will take place on September 7th, Pope Leo announced on Friday. As the peak summer season kicks off, the Spanish island of Ibiza expects a busy period, with thousands of tourists expected to visit the island to enjoy its shores and famous nightlife. The iconic Spanish island, renowned globally for its vibrant party scene, welcomes over 3 million tourists annually. The island's economy is deeply reliant on tourism. Traditional boats that once navigated the Mesopotamian rivers are returning to Iraqi port city Basra's waterways through a local heritage initiative. The initiative has produced 100 traditional boats across various Iraqi provinces with support from several institutions, including the Heritage Preservation Fund, the British Council, and the Alliance for the Protection of Heritage. Britain's King Charles hosted the recipients of the King's Award for Enterprise at the Windsor Castle. Charles was joined by Princess Anne, Prince Edward, and Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh. The 27th Cross-Strait Economic and Trade Fair was held in Fuzhou, Fujian, where Taiwanese businessmen showcased their unique cake towels, blending creativity with local cultural elements. A cultivation competition under the slogan Abundant Harvest has commenced in Mongolia's key agricultural regions. The competition provides a platform for young farmers to exchange knowledge. Turkmenistan's Nebechi Children's Health Center hosted an inter-camp tournament in chess, checkers and traditional Turkmen checkers held under the catchphrase, "A healthy lifestyle is our main motto." In Beijing, the moon reached its fullness, depicting a picturesque scene of the lowest full moon. The reddish-hued moon hovered above the Great Wall, providing a stunning backdrop to the White Pagoda. China's capital, Beijing, is set to launch the world's first 4S store dedicated to embodied artificial intelligence robots, marking the latest push to commercialize advanced robotics. Ongoing archaeological excavations in Kazakhstan have revealed significant findings at the ancient settlement of Jankent, the former capital of Oghuz Yabgu state. A historic milestone was achieved at Turkey's first and Europe's largest bonsai museum in Yalova with the inaugural harvest of fruits from a miniature mulberry tree. In Albania's northern Zadrima region, women are preserving the centuries-old tradition of silk weaving, overseeing every step from raising silkworms to crafting fine fabric. Journalist Hasan Koskun captured underwater footage of a photo reconnaissance plane that crashed into Turkey's Sapanca Lake in 1972. Diving 8 meters deep and 200 meters from shore, Koskun documented the wreckage 53 years after the incident. Indian film Houseful 5 is continuing its box office run as the film nears its second weekend on the big screen. The film's Indian net collection has grown to $14.75 million in just 7 days. Legendary Indian actor Dharmendra and actor Arbaz Khan will be sharing screen together after 27 years for their upcoming film Maine Pyar Kiya Phir Se. Fans of South Korea's K-pop megastar BTS celebrated the band's 12th anniversary on Friday at the annual festival called BTS Festa in Goyang. Thousands of global BTS fans were seen enjoying the festival and a lightning show with the giant army bomb, a glow stick which they use at concerts. The cast of South Korean TV series Squid Game bade an emotional farewell to fans at the London premiere of the third season on Thursday. Actor Lee Jung-jae, who plays the protagonist, said that the Korean drama is very special to him. The fantasy adventure film How to Train Your Dragon had its New York premiere at the Tribeca Film Festival with actors Mason Thames, Nico Parker and Gerard Butler in attendance. English musician Billy Idol premiered his new documentary at the 2025 Tribeca Festival, saying it has it all from his early life and rise to fame to struggles with drug addiction and his journey to sobriety. A new class of songwriters was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in New York, with rock band Beach Boys member Mike Love among the celebrated honorees. Rio de Janeiro's iconic Christ the Redeemer served as the breathtaking backdrop for an unprecedented celebration of fashion, music and community during the Rio Fashion Show. Under the creative direction of designer Alessa Migani, the Rio Fashion Show aims to celebrate the identity, love and solidarity of Rio de Janeiro in one of Brazil's most symbolic locations. Indian cricketers sported black armbands and observed a minute's silence ahead of their intra-squad practice match in England as a homage to the victims of the Ahmedabad plane crash. Head coach of India's cricket team, Gautam Gambhir, has returned home before the first test against England due to some family emergency. South African and Australian cricketers also observed a minute's silence and wore black armbands during the third day of the World Test Championship final in London as a tribute to the plane crash victims in India. Australia were all out for 207 runs on the third day of the World Test Championship final in London, setting a target of 282 runs for South Africa to win. Australia's last wicket pair of Mitchell Starc and Josh Hazlewood added over 50 crucial runs in the low-scoring match. New Zealand batter Finn Allen shattered the world record for most sixes in a T20 innings, smashing 19 sixes during a Major League Cricket match. Top Indian shooter Sif Kaur Samara claimed the bronze medal in the women's 50-meter rifle three positions event at the ISSF World Cup in Germany. India have been placed in Pool C alongside Germany, Ireland and Namibia for the upcoming FIH Women's Junior World Cup after the draw was announced in Chile's capital city, Santiago. The Indian women's hockey team is set to kick off the second and the final leg of the FIH Pro League against Australia in London on Saturday. The All England Lawn Tennis Club has increased the prize money for Wimbledon to $72.59 million, which is a 7% increase from 2024. FIFA President Gianni Infantino has said that the Club World Cup, which kicks off on Saturday, marks a historic new era for the game. Tottenham has hired Thomas Frank as the head coach after he ended his nearly decade-long stay at Brentford. Poland manager Michael Probies resigned days after star striker Robert Lewandowski said that he will no longer play for the national team under him. Two-time Olympic gold medalist Armand Duplantis continued to extend his winning ways in pole vault after taking the top spot at the Diamond League meeting in Oslo. And Norway's Karsten Warholm shattered the previous best time of 300-meter hurdles event at the Diamond League meet in Oslo. And with that, we end this edition of Express News. Thank you for tuning in. Namaskar.